Right now is one of the best times you can possibly think to play Tarkov PVE. So if you've been wondering, am I going to jump onto the game mode? Am I going to test it out? Is it actually worth playing? Well, right now it definitely is, and it's going to be the best time to at least get your PVE journey started on Tarkov itself, whether that be for experimenting with different weapon loadouts, or whether it's to actually start your journey into PvE. Maybe it's to actually improve a combat system and moving around within Escape from Tarkov, or just simply learning the game from its beginning. Now is the best time to play. But let's get into the reasons why that is. But before we do that, if you are interested in seeing more Escape from Tarkov videos and you want to actually see various different guides and tips related to Tarkov, then make sure that you are subscribing. Currently, the support has been incredible, and I thank every single one of you who has actually watched these videos. I am amazed. But with that being said, let's jump in to the first thing that I want to talk about in today's video. And the first thing is, as it currently stands, the PvP wipe is about a month and a half away from when it is going to happen. So it's the late wipe of the Tarkov PvP servers, which means that it's actually a great time to kind of jump off. You've probably ground out a lot of PvP and you're kind of wanting a new experience to grind through and try out, as well as test out some different things than the current meta items that you're probably running within PvP, as well as the fact that PvE starts from scratch, and you can start from scratch at any point in your journey. You can reset your account back to nothing and go all over again. You can do it at the start of wipes, and we're probably going to do this as well when the new wipe actually lands and we can restart our account in a month and a half, or potentially make another account, at which point I'll do kind of a series to kind of go step by step as to what you can do to earn money and level up your account. But in terms of why it is a great time to start now, is because it is late wipe, we're seeing a lot of the bonus events that PvP side has at the end of their typical wipes, where lots of bosses spawn on maps. You've seen recently that there's been a Shoreline boss event whereby all of the bosses were located in the health resort of Shoreline, which means that you could farm a ton of XP. And of course this was translated over to the PvE mode because they share the same sort of direction in terms of what BSG do with certain events in both of the modes, and they've not been kind of separated out so that one mode will have one thing happening and the other might not have that thing happening, at least at this moment in time, which means that now you can farm up your PvE account very quickly if you have access to PvE. Similarly, in a few months' time, apparently they will be releasing the PvE mode as a DLC expansion that people can get. Obviously, it's available for EOD and the True Believer Edition owners who have paid the extra money to get it, or at least or have paid the money initially and to get all of the future DLC. But if you are a standard Tarkov account holder, you will be able to purchase the DLC for PvE. Hopefully it should be, well, it should be free, to be honest with you, but apparently yeah, it's going to cost a decent chunk. We don't know confirmed how much it'd be, but probably, knowing BSG, it'd be like 60 quid or something like that, or like $80, even though I would maybe personally price it at like £15, so $20 or something like that. But realistically it should be free. Either way, it will be available to everyone. But the whole point about PvE right now is that it is starting to become apparent that you can farm a ton of money, which is going to help you in every single direction, because all of the events, as well as the addition of the increased loot spawns that we've seen over all of the maps, meaning that there are essentially more spawns of items everywhere throughout the entire map. So every single kind of spawn has a higher chance of spawning something, which is probably why you've seen so many spawns in various different maps, as opposed to when you first begin a wipe, where you see a lot less of those spawns coming across. So yeah, that's one thing that you can see within the game when you do first start Tarkov, and the PvE mode is definitely really good at that right now, because there are so many ways to make money. And if you've been following any of the videos that we've done recently, I've been able to make upwards of 50 million in one singular raid just by running a scav run on the streets of Tarkov. So that's the kind of levels that you can get just straight out of the box, whether you're a level 1 or whether you're a super high level. Of course, you can't make the money until you get to the flea market at level 15, but because of all of the events and all of the additional stuff, there currently aren't any running right now, but there will be probably in the near future. You're going to be able to accelerate that level progression much quicker without having to do the constant tasks. And as well as that, you're also seeing that PvP, at least within the PvE mode, so against other PMCs who are AI, you're finding that their AI systems are pretty bad at the moment. They're not particularly the greatest. They do have some pretty cracked aim once they've spotted you, but often even when they've aggroed you and you've got behind cover, they'll sit in the same sort of location, not pushing you. They don't do a whole lot. They'll just kind of, you basically can get aggroed for about 2 seconds or 1 second before they start shooting you. You can pull around a corner, you wait a couple seconds, and then you can pull around again and go for another shot. You can find out where they are, then pull back around the corner, and they're really quite simplified in terms of how they approach you as a AI. Scavs will be much different. They'll actually push you, and so can be quite dangerous when there's like 15 of them around you, but there's not a whole lot of problems with them because their aim is absolutely horrendous, at least at the moment. So it's kind of one of those things where whatever you do at the moment is much easier, whether that's making money or completing tasks or whatever it is. And BSG have said that they will be improving the AI of the PvE mode, making it more difficult, I would assume, such that the PMCs will push you. Maybe it makes it much easier because they're not just sat in one specific spot, but hopefully they'll increase the kind of AI roam distance where they can be in various different locations. They'll actually move throughout the raid because currently they're stuck in one spot. But that's really good for completing tasks because once you know where the PMC spawns are on the map, you can kind of create your own path that avoids all of those PMCs from possibly being able to aggro you, or limit it to at least one group of PMCs if you're not really interested in any of the PMC on PMC action. Scavs will still aggro you, they're all over the map, so you still have to deal with them, but they're very easy, and once you get the hang of taking out scavs, it's very, very simple. But of course, PMCs right now, pretty lame. They don't really do a whole lot, and they're pretty easy to take out, especially if you've got a decent weapon and you're not using things like pistols and that sort of stuff where it can be a bit more difficult. And of course, once you take out PMCs, you get all of their gear, and they can have some pretty good stuff on them to kind of get at the very beginning of your PvE journey. So yeah, now very easy way of kind of grinding out that initial part, and also giving you more XP as you go through the raids because they're easier to take out. They're easier to solidly take out every single raid, and that will kind of give you some big bonuses when it comes to what you need to do next. And kind of the final thing of this video is that whether you're a PvP player or just simply getting into Tarkov for the first time, it's a great place to actually test out some of your weapons. So if you can do everything faster at this point, which it is, you can get all of that stuff done at the beginning, and you're going to be able to use the mode regardless of whether, you know, you're going to be around for a week or 2 weeks or whatever every single wipe. Playing the PvE mode, it makes it much easier to test out different weapons, to try out the new meta builds when BSG make nerfs and changes to the actual guns within the PvP mode. They will share the same kind of nerfs and buffs, I'm sure, unless BSG makes some drastic changes to either one of the modes, and it will just be a great place to kind of do that. Of course, PvE doesn't wipe on every single wipe, so you're not going to have any kind of wiping of your account at regular intervals, that sort of thing. It will stay and be the same account until you decide that you might want to reset your account or whatever that might be. So I think that that is a great thing to do. I would love BSG to introduce a feature where they can actually have multiple different characters that you can play in PvE, where you could have a hardcore mode where you cannot actually use the flea whatsoever. It'd be great to see a super hardcore where if you die you completely negate that account, you can't use it anymore, that sort of thing. I think that would be really, really cool to actually try out, and I don't know whether that will ever come, but that sort of stuff might come in the future. So being able to have a solid main account PMC that you can use to test all of the variety of different things, to test out the loot rooms, to see what's happening, and kind of find your own way around maps, test out the maps. This is a very, very good place to do it. And as a new player especially, you're going to find that learning the maps will be the biggest way that you can actually win gunfights on PvP, as well as getting that combat experience, or at least being able to learn the different mechanics of kind of movement and that sort of stuff. It's going to be very, very beneficial for you, and so that is one of the biggest reasons why I would recommend playing PvE if you are interested in kind of going off to PvP later on down the line, or if you're just currently playing PvP and you're wondering what sort of guns you can actually pull off and what works best for you. You can do it for basically free on here, and you don't have to kind of test it out and lose money and rubles as you go through every single raid. So that is kind of what I recommend, and why PvE, at least at the moment in time, is one of the best ways to play Tarkov and test things out, as well as actually kind of get a good experience and have an enjoyable experience of Tarkov from the get-go. So I really enjoyed the PvE mode. It's a very, very fun thing to do, and we'll be starting off a variety of different PvE content, including a specific account that will be dedicated to a challenge mode that I will make up myself with various different rules. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure you're subscribing. But if you want to see all of the tips and guides as well that we'll be doing on the channel, then make sure that you do like and subscribe to this video, and hopefully I'll help you out on whatever it might be on Tarkov itself. So with that being said, if you did enjoy and you want to see me watching live on Twitch, then you can see my Twitch link in the description down below, as we will be streaming on there very frequently for Tarkov as we play and record 4 videos. We're going to be doing it live, so you can see exactly what I'm doing at any point in time, and hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. So thank you very much everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.